you're fasting from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., when do you work out? In the morning, lunchtime, or evening? Because depending on the time of day that you work out, it's going to affect your body differently. You know what? Let's take a look. 3 different types of people. Let's start with morning. Morning trainer. Let's take an example like morning Matt. We'll just take that as an example. Morning Matt, he's used to the early grind, gets up early on a regular basis. He's used to getting up and sometimes going to get a workout in. So this kind of person, if you're this type of person, then that means this is going to be what's best for you. So morning routine, I would suggest, is great. Why? Because it utilizes the energy and the fuel that you used from the previous meal, which would have been the meal you had the evening before. And so you still have glycogen in your muscles. So you're able to still push yourself a little bit in that session. It also means the exercise is out the way, which also means you're going to be clearer headed throughout the day. So these are all pros. You don't have that fasting fatigue that can sometimes set in. The cons, however, are, let's be real, in this morning session, you're not going to be breaking PBs. It's going to be maintenance. Think of it maintenance rather than gaining. I would also add that sometimes by the time it hits afternoon, you can get even more hungry. But I would say it's a good time to get your work in because it sets you up for the day. Cool. Let's look at lunchtime workouts. So if you're a lunchtime person, let's take an example like lunchtime Lena. This is a woman who has flexibility with her routine. Maybe she's actually unable to work out in the mornings and the evenings, so she finds a little bit of time between midday and 2 p.m. Now, the problem is you're not going to be breaking PBs at this point. Again, it's not a strong strength session. It's going to be more something around light cardio or reduced number of weight when it comes to your strength. So maybe think of, you could use the same weight but less reps. So maybe you do a certain lift for 10 reps. Maybe think about doing that same lift for 5 reps. Or maybe you actually reduce the weight to about 60% of what you usually work on, but you maintain the reps or even increase the reps. So it just depends on the kind of intensity in which you're trying to achieve. But think of the lunchtime stop more as keeping your body moving, keeping your body ticking over, allowing you to still have focus throughout the rest of the day. That's what I would think of it. Some nice low-level cardio, conversational kind of pace. So if you're running, you can still hold a combo. If you're on the elliptical, you can still hold a combo. That's what I'd say. And I think a lot of people will fall into this third bracket, which is evening time. So if you want to work out in the evening, maybe you'll take an example like evening Emmanuel, right? Emmanuel, he likes going to the gym later at night. So he's used to that kind of schedule. And I get it, because especially during a fast, you would have already eaten. You would have broken at 6, maybe you end up in the gym at like 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock. And so you're in the gym, you have the energy, you have the glycogen that's now replenished yourself. So you have the ability to actually push yourself in workouts a bit more than the morning people or the afternoon people would be able to. The only downsides to these are it can mess up your schedule. Because, for example, if you're fasting for biblical reasons, that means you probably have evening commitments, whether it be Bible study, whether it be time with the Lord, whether it even be family commitments, prayer meetings, etc. So if you're unable to work out soon after breaking, you might end up working out later, which can also then push your bedtime back, and then pushing your bedtime back. That means you're going to wake up later and the cycle continues. As you can see, sleep won't be optimal, especially if you're up early in the morning. So these kind of things are things to think about if you're thinking about training morning, lunchtime, and evening. Me personally, I rank it morning, evening, lunchtime, purely because with the morning, you can just get it out the way, done. I know I'm not pursuing any sort of crazy goals, no running goals, no strength goals. So for me, it's just maintaining, keeping the cogs moving. And then if you do have like a competition or something, or you just want to keep that strength up, then go for the evenings. But you just have to be very wise and strategic. You actually have to be quite disciplined to do the evening shift, because if your sleep gets impacted, it's going to affect your whole day, and that's just long. We don't want that. And then lunchtime is for more of those people who are unable to get the workouts in the morning or the evening, but you can still squeeze it in here and there to keep your body ticking over. Ultimately, we have to remember, when we're fasting, it's ultimately to seek the Lord's face. Training is just a supplement, because obviously we're temples of the Holy Spirit, so it's wise that we look after it. But if you find it impacting the way in which you fast, try and dial it down. Also have lower expectations of what you're going to be doing. If you usually train 4 to 5 times a week, when you're fasting, you're just not going to have the energy to do so. So give yourself grace. 3 to 4 times a week, you're good. 3 times, even 2 times, you'll be good. But yeah, I hope this was beneficial, and I pray that you have a blessed 2026. Go hard for the Lord. Seek His face.
Only you can satisfy me. Only you can